Welcome everybody to our final coaching cafe for 2024. My name's Paula and I've got with me the lovely Bridget today.
Hello, everybody. Great to be here. Thanks, Paula.
And we are going to take a look at the year in coaching, so the year that we've had in coaching. We're going to look at the trends and highlights of 2024 and think about what we might do moving forward. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the lands on which we meet today and their continuing connection to the land, waters and communities of Australia and the lands from all around the world upon which you might be joining us. We pay our respects to them and their elders past, present and emerging, and elders from Indigenous communities from around the world. So for our coaching cafe today, we're going to look at what we talked about the trends in coaching were at the beginning of the year. We're going to have a look at the coaching cafe highlights, and if it all works, and I'm fingers crossed that it does, I've got a poll for us to do. So we're going to be quite interactive today, and we're calling on all of you to join in with us. We're going to look at what's coming up in 2025. As always, it's about creating community, and this session above all will be about that community because we want to hear from you and what your thoughts have been on 2024. It's about creating a shared learning experience and thought-provoking conversations. And of course, at the end, for those of you who are coming along for your ICF-CCEs, that will be available at the end of the webinar. So welcome everybody. I hope this will be fun and interactive and exciting. Okay, so I found this little quote about, because we're doing the review of the year, and the quote is, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. And that was from John Dewey, who's a philosopher and psychologist. And I really liked it because it said it's not just the going through the experience that is that learning piece. It's the then thinking about, what did I learn? What happened? What would I do differently moving forward?
Wow.
And I thought this was me being very clever, and I'm happy to be. I'm happy for people to let me know what they think about this, because the first trend that we talked about was AI at the beginning of the year. I asked AI to create a quote based on reviewing the year, and AI said, as the year draws to a close, take a moment to look back, not just at the challenges, but at the growth, the wins, and the lessons that have shaped your journey. So that was our AI quote about reviewing the year.
That's lovely. It really gives that above the line approach, doesn't it? In terms of, when we think about our experiences and where we sit on the line as to how we're going to experience or reflect on that experience when we're sitting on the line. Are we going to look at what we've learned, what's changed for us now? What could I have done differently? What worked well, rather than that below the line, attitude around that experience was no good, and sort of having that negative feeling about it. So, yeah, I think that's really appropriate.
Yeah, and I think it also, because we talked about the use of AI in coaching, and when Natalie first started talking about the use of AI in coaching, I was a bit skeptical on it. I was a bit, you can't just use machines to help with these things. And then the HR world had a big buzz about it and was like, AI in HR and I thought, oh man, I'm not exactly on board with this yet. I need to stand back. And the sessions we did at the beginning of the year around AI really opened my idea to what the coaching can do. And I think these two quotes actually reflect where I think AI in coaching is that when you get a person saying something and doing something, it feels different to when AI says it. And AI comes up with it feels like an AI response, I think is what I'm trying to get at. And I have been using AI all year since I've delved into it. I've been using it to check, does this sentence sound good? How could I say this in a different way? What could I do with this? And it's actually very useful for starting the process. I look at it as the starter. So I throw it into AI. What does AI come up with? And then I add myself into it, which is, I think, exactly where, from the coaching perspective, if you're a manager and you need an instant, I've got to ask, I just want to get my momentum going, for example, chuck it into AI and it will come back at you with some great coaching questions, and it's enough to get you moving.
It's
Whereas,
interesting. Go on,
sorry,
go on.
yeah, go. I was just going to say, whereas when you get coaching from a person, a genuine live person, there's more that comes with it, and you can go deeper, and there's nuances that a coach is going to be picking up that perhaps AI isn't picking up yet. But from a basis perspective, from a HR perspective too, if there's a manager out there who's typing an email and needs some instant help, mate, I would say take that instant help. Or they want to know, how do I phrase this in this conversation I'm having with someone? It sounds great.
And what comes up for me when you're talking about this is the emptying the glass analogy, just in regard to, you've got the human being versus the AI. And with the human being, we work at emptying the glass, and we think about going in, getting rid of everything that's up here to go into that coaching conversation and focus. It's all about you. And whereas the AI doesn't necessarily have all of that sort of within. They're going in with a glass empty to start with, in a sense, and so therefore the nuances don't exist necessarily as they might with the human.
Yeah. So we started off the year with the use of AI in coaching, and this is one of those topics that I don't think will be going away anytime soon. And I imagine AI will get more sophisticated as it goes along, and we'll keep reflecting on that. The other topic we raised, the other topic as a trend for this year was around building engagement, and that the quiet quitting that's happening in our workplaces. And I think, particularly considering that we had organisations mandate people returning to work, or returning to the workplace, physical location. I don't think this is a topic that's actually going to go away. And I don't think it's ever not been there. The whole idea about engagement in organisations and how you get people, how people feel about coming to work, I think will be a trend that continues, particularly in this environment where there's been those mandates and the like.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bridget?
I definitely agree with you. I think it's an ongoing thing. It's I guess being given a taste of that balance and the value and the benefits that it brings to be able to have that balance, and then to take it back, within sort of different grades, I suppose, whether it's, part back in that hybrid, or it's got to be all in. It's an interesting conversation, and one that has pros and cons to each scenario, that I agree that I don't think this is ever going to go away in terms of opinion and discussion, that robust discussion, and how people feel about that, and the impact that it has is an ongoing discussion, absolutely.
Yes, and when we think about that coaching space, it is about understanding. I sort of think of this as understanding what will work for an individual. And I understand also that organisations, particularly large organisations, are big juggernauts, and they have to have rules that cover and span across. And the trick is for managers in particular is, how do I meet the needs of an individual plus the needs of an organisation? And that will be an ongoing conversation forever, I suspect.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely agree.
And the third trend that we had was burnout and employee wellbeing. And I think it links in with the topic around engagement. And it's that idea of people managing their mental health and thinking of mental health as health. We talk about physical health and mental health, and the introduction of the right to disconnect legislation that said it's okay for people to not answer phone calls, not necessary phone calls outside of work, and to shut computers down. I'd be interested to hear from our community how people feel that's been going in the workplace. And yeah, it's that idea that we need to be managing health as an overall perspective, not just a physical perspective.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about health, that mental health, physical health, our relationships, the health of our relationships, the health of the way we think, that how we feel, the whole idea around that health piece, mental health, physical health, relationship health, environment health, all comes into play. Everything we've been talking about so far is somehow all links together.
Yeah, absolutely. So we ran a lot of coaching cafes this year, and I'm going to see if this works, Bridget. Everyone, fingers crossed with me, because I never know. I've got a poll here for everybody, which has the topics that we delivered on the coaching cafe this year. And I'd love to hear from people. Which were your favorite coaching cafes? What topics really worked for you? I'm launching it now, and I hope it works.
Mm.
Um, you can choose more than one as well. So you can choose as many as you like, but we would love to hear from you about your favorite coaching cafes. Whilst people are doing that, Bridget, mine are always the ones where we listen to you coaching someone, and then we do the debrief, because I really love that. I love listening to you coach, first of all, but then to be really able to dissect and think and really pull out the learnings from that coaching is some of my favorite coaching cafes.
Oh, lovely. That's terrific. I think it's great to be able to listen to the coaching, to have a look at what's working well, what could have been done differently, what might you change if you were going to ask a question, because of course everyone's going to approach it differently when you're listening to the coachee. So there's more than one way you can approach that conversation. So I think they are quite valuable to explore and to digest and review. Absolutely.
Great. And thank you, everybody, for putting in your answers so far. I think so. Coaching mindset
Mm.
um, has been one of the favorites. So that was thinking about what it is to be in that coaching mindset. People do agree with us about the coaching demonstrations and debriefs. Coaching people with too much on their plate, managing the strong emotions. I also really enjoyed in our coaching cafes when we looked at the core competencies and really delved into what are those core competencies? What do they mean? How do we apply them? How do we make sure that we're embodying? And I think it goes in that coaching mindset. How do we embody that whilst we're in the coaching sessions?
Absolutely. I think it's absolutely when we practice them, of course, and experience them, the more that we do that. And if we do something every day, and those that know me will know I say that all the time, something every day, to start to integrate and embody these core competencies, but also to going through and reviewing what does that core competency look like? What does it sound like? How do I know that I'm demonstrating that particular competency? So certainly reviewing them, reading the document, trying them on, deciding to practice one or another, to really familiarize yourself with each of them, I think is really important too. I'm just seeing there. Oh, yes. Okay. Nicole suggested or asked if we can have more coaching demonstrations and debriefs next year. She loved it. So yes, she says it's great to bring those competencies to life, which is which is very true. Yes, exactly.
Yes, and yeah, Nicole, if I have anything to do with it, we will absolutely be having more coaching demos and debriefs next year, because I think it is such a valuable tool. One, to listen to someone else coaching, but two, to be really able to dissect it and then think about, and we talked about that, the learning bit comes from, and what does that mean for me? So if we think about the 5 levels of conversations, it's that top one that says, and now how do I apply this to me? What do I need to do? What does this mean for me? How can I do something with this?
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you everybody for letting us know about your favourite coaching cafes. That will help us with some planning for next year. Um, I'm going to end the poll now. These are all new things that I'm learning. We'll end the poll. I'll share the results, I think, and we'll see how we go from there. So the other thing that we wanted to do um, was also to think about next year and our forward planning. And actually, I'll come back to that one in a second. Okay, so one of the other highlights for us this year was um, one of our focuses is all about creating community, and we love that people, so we've got people who listen to the podcast, and we've got people who come on the Coaching Cafe live, which is great as well. And we had participants from all over the world join in 2024. And I've listed them up here for everybody. So we had people from New Zealand, Singapore, India, United States, Canada, Malaysia, Japan, China, Thailand, United Arab Emirates, and Hong Kong. If I've missed anyone, please let me know. I did my research, but if I didn't get it quite right, let me know. And I love that we continue to expand. We're expanding who comes in. We're expanding. In the United States, there were several states that people were coming in from. My mind says we're missing a bit more of Europe, so we need to go find some participants from Europe. And we wanted to thank all of our listeners and the participants for joining in, because your contribution really makes a difference. And we love that we are able to unite us all across the world.
Yes, lovely. And Australia too.
Oh, well. And I forgot Australia, because we're and from all over our states as well. People in all the states. And I love that I'm in Perth and you're in Melbourne, and we're already, as you know, spread fast across the country.
Exactly.
One of the other highlights we had for this year was that we hit our 7,500 podcast download, which is amazing. Oh, Brett said that Europe presents a time zone issue for your direct participation in the webinars. You're probably right, Brett. That could be a reason. We'll have to think about that and see what we can come up with. So we hit 7,500 podcast downloads, which astounds me, and thank you to all of our podcast listeners for downloading our podcasts and regularly catching up with us. We really appreciate that.
That's wonderful.
So looking forward to 2025. So I've got my quotes here, Bridget. So Diana Nyad is an author and long distance swimmer. There's a movie on Netflix, and she said, "You will never succeed if you don't plan." And I really like that. And once again, I stuck it into my friend AI and said, "Dear AI, tell me what you think would be a good quote." And AI said, "Forward planning isn't just about mapping out the next steps. It's about shaping the path with intention and clarity, one decision at a time." And it does sound very much like an AI quote, that one. But I still think it still links in with the topic, and it's still telling us that. And if we think about from a coaching perspective, it is about thinking about what that next step is, what's the next decision, which is what we focus on in our coaching sessions.
Well, that's right. And also, thinking about path with intention and clarity. I really like that piece. One decision at a time. So it's about that momentum that we were talking about as well, and being able to stop and reflect as well around, well, what's going well? What might I do differently? What do I need to change? What are the small wins? All of these sorts of questions that then in turn start to shape the next step. Rather than just setting out that blanket plan and expecting it all to happen in that way. Of course, naturally, it might be one step forward, two steps back, looking at something, looking at different resources, support, things will happen. That's how life works. So definitely that shaping the path is around that momentum and reflection piece. So I like that AI quote.
Yeah. So, thinking about us moving forward, I've got another little poll. It's really a question. Let's stop sharing this one. Oh, hang on. Oops. Oh, sorry, everybody. I'm having a slight technical difficulty. Can you see still? Are you still seeing the screen?
I can see the screen.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay. Small technical difficulty. Let's see if I can try my next poll. Oh, let me, hang on, I'll go back. Here we go. I did tell you that technology is not necessarily my thing. We're going to do, here we go. Let's see if this will launch for me. Oh, I don't know that it will. Hang on. Maybe trying, oh, yep. Goodness me. If it doesn't work, I'll just ask the question and we can pop it into the chat, which I think we'll need to do because I can't get this to work. So the other question I had was, what topics would you like to see for 2025? So if you can just throw them into chat for me, that would be great. I was trying to be fancy, but we'll go, when that doesn't work, we go to plan B. So if you can put into chat for me what topics that you would like us to cover in 2025, and that will assist us with our forward planning. Bridget, what topics are you thinking?
Well, I certainly think the coaching demonstrations was a good one that Nicole suggested we do more of. Brett suggested moving from awareness to action, which I think is a great topic. I like the acronym there too, the A to A, the awareness to action. Lovely. And TZ says how to deal with people with mental health challenges or severe anxiety, being able to keep them in their course of studies. Renata says maybe about clients who are overall quite negative, more about AI coaching and demonstrations, and how to coach a leader to convey a message that they initially opposed and then subsequently had to tell their team the new approach, so a change in direction without being resentful. So change and communication there. There's lots of great topics there, Paula.
Yeah, there's lots of great topics. Thank you. So it would be remiss of me not to mention that Natalie has severe FOMO because she hasn't been here for these final coaching sessions for 2024. She has been very busy facilitating all over the world. She was in the US and she's in different parts of Australia last week and this week. But she wanted me to let everybody know that she misses them. Second, that she wished she was here, and she wishes everybody a really happy end to this year and is looking forward to next year. So that was a little announcement from Natalie. Well, we've got some more topics coming through. How to coach a leader who wants to have strong diversity, inclusion, but needs to add belonging. I like that one. Helga said mindful coaching. Yes, I think they are absolutely topics that we can look at. Jonathan's added in team coaching. Well,
Good
this
one.
might make my job very easy for next year when the coaching cafes. All the topics are already set. Well done. This was my biggest, greatest idea.
Mm,
Ian said, any new takes on self-coaching?
okay, that's a good topic.
Ian, I take something from all of the coaching cafes and use them in my self-coaching. Yes. How to drop your leader agenda when you coach as a leader. That's a really interesting one, Brett. It's that, which hat am I wearing when I'm doing things? How to coach individuals, how to intervene when witnessing inappropriate behavior. Hmm. So this is great.
Yeah, lots
Um,
of valuable topics.
yeah, absolutely. Really great topics for next year. Okay, so thank you, Bridget, for joining me for the last 4 coaching cafes for this year. It's been extremely valuable and I've really appreciated it.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure having these conversations with you, Paula. I've really enjoyed it too. So thank you.
No worries. And thank you to everybody for joining us for Coaching Cafes in 2024. And we are looking forward to seeing everybody in 2025 to continue our Coaching Cafe series. As always, we've got our certificate for in workplace and business coaching. Our our first program in February is filling up fast. So if it's something that you're interested in, I would have a look at that sooner rather than later. We have the Diploma of Organisational Coaching, Executive and Senior Leader Coaching, Mentor Coaching Program, and Mediation Services. So we want to wish you a very happy Friday, first of all, because we're still acknowledging the Friday. So a very happy Friday to everybody. Enjoy your weekend. And we look forward to catching up with all of you in the new year.
Bye for now, everyone. Happy 2024 and happy Christmas.